Welcome back to another Purpose Served podcast episode. I'm your host, Darryl Wingfield. If you're new to this podcast, please like, download, subscribe to the YouTube channel, show your love and support. Now, I'm going to continue this podcast off from where I last ended in the previous one. Just to give you guys a little update on my recently developed mindset. But everything that's been going on in my life right now, I realize that I'm not putting forth the action to the things that I actually know, and I'm kind of not in a sense going through the motions. I'm still doing what I have to do, but certain times, certain things just get overwhelming and feel like it's too much, but recently I realized that as of today, actually, I really got to have like an animalistic instinct mindset towards the things that I want to get done, because it means that much to me and it's that important. But certain times I don't treat it like that. And the people that I hold as inspirations to me and to like a high regard in a sense, they all had that animalistic instinct where no matter whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, it has to get done. And I was like that. I would want to say like in my teenage years when I first started playing basketball, and I was fueled, I was hungry for it. And as I got older, it seemed like I got more and more complacent in a sense because of the things that was going on around me and the direction of my life, but I realized that I got to tap into that again and really use that to get me where I got to go. Now, for example, Michael Jordan is one of those people, that's a huge inspiration to me, not only to me, but so many different other people. And he was the type of person that he had to get his goals and accomplishments and achievements done by any means necessary, no matter what, and that gave him that tunnel vision to day in and day out do his job to the best of his ability. Because, even when he wasn't playing, that's how he lived his life. It just wasn't, for that game. He ate like a champion, worked out like a champion, had a time regimen set on it, on his days and what he had to do, his workout structure and everything. And somebody who was literally highly similar, to him in his approach to, being the best that they can possibly be was somebody I mention on this podcast all the time, and that's Kobe Bryant. And that was somebody who dedicated his life to the game of basketball, and he took the blueprint from Michael Jordan. Just for those who don't even watch basketball, like that, they both had pretty much the same coach, especially under the years that they won championships. They had the same coach. And Kobe Bryant figured, since they was like, they played the same position, same height, same kind of build, he realized he wasn't as athletic as Michael Jordan, but they played in the same system. So why not, mimic what he did in the system, but put his own identity to it as well? But just having a blueprint of knowing what your predecessor did before you and trying to, I wouldn't say make it better, but like put your identity on it, put your stamp on it. And these are principles and things that, like I said, that if you learn the basics of these principles, you can pretty much apply them to anything. And I'm trying to tap in to that go mode, being nonstop with what I'm trying to do, because it means that much to me. But certain times I feel like when I let, outside things in, it takes me off that path a little bit, and sometimes, to be quite honest, life just happens the way it does. But through thick and thin, just like the mindsets that they had, this is what I'm here for. This is the mission, and the mission has to get complete, or else all of this means nothing. Now, not everybody is like that, and not everybody want to be like that. But I feel like the position that I've been put in my life is, I want it. It don't feel like nothing else than me wanting it, because in a crazy way, I want it that bad. And a lot of things led me to this point with me even thinking like that in general. Like I tell you guys all the time, like this path that I've been on, at first I used to look at all of this as like a hindrance, and me having bad luck, with me working extremely hard, and then things don't come through. And when probably I talked about this in the earlier podcast, but when I was like around 16, that's when I introduced myself to hard work. And nobody told me to do any of these things. I just did them. And like my sophomore year going into my junior year, that was the first time I just wrapped my life around playing basketball. And it started off as me, like I said, like Kobe Bryant. That was the person that I wanted to be like, and I took a lot of the characteristics that I seen that he had on the court. I didn't really understand what I was watching or seeing, but like I said, it just mesmerized me, and I would try to copy it. But it didn't work out, and experiencing those failures for the first time, it was like real frustrating. Like I remember midway through my sophomore year, after I got cut from my team, I'm just like, yo, I love this game so much, and I'm practicing mad hard, but I'm not getting anything from it. And this is crazy. I was only committed to the game at this point for like 2 or 3 months, and I wanted instant gratification. But I quickly realized that I wasn't prepared to play. Like I said, I didn't have like no coach. I didn't have no trainer. This is all stuff that I, God honest truth, pushed myself to do. Even to this day, that's been the case. And around that time, I would want to say after my sophomore year was done, I just spent my whole day playing basketball all day, every day. And it was one of those things where I believe it was like we had practice like 3 or 4 days a week, I want to say. I don't even know. It's a long time ago. But I would try to get there before the middle school kids and just shoot around like in the morning, because I believe it was from 8 to 10. And I would try to get there at 7 o'clock. And I would walk there. And it's probably like a mile and a half away from my house. So I would walk to the courts or walk to the middle school. And then after that, I would get my hour like worth of shots in, and then just shooting. And then after I shoot around for like an hour, I would practice with the middle school kids from 8 to 10. And then the JV and varsity practice right after that from 10 to 12, and I would practice with them. And then after that, I would come back home, get something to drink, and then go around the corner and shoot around and play with any of my friends that pulled up and be out there like all day. And that was my summer. Now, the first half of the summer, I wasn't, reaping the benefits of what I was doing, and I was getting overlooked. And like, while the varsity and like JV players were like playing on the other side, the coach would put me and my brother on the side with like the freshmen, and I'm going into my junior year. So I'm like, Dad, this is not a good look. He's not even paying attention to us. Until one day, my mom forced me to go to practice. Like, me and my brother, it's like, you guys are going. And I was sick. That's why I didn't want to go. I wasn't feeling too good. But I ended up going anyway. And this was like the best practice that I had all summer. And then after that, from then on out, I got put on varsity. And for me, that made me even work harder than what I was doing before. And now I'm playing in somewhat sort of a system where I'm learning plays for like the first time and stuff like that. And then my junior year come up, and we're playing in a fall league game, and I go up on a fast break and I get bumped in the air, and I come down and I land wrong, and I tore my ACL, and my season was done for my junior year. So I couldn't even get a chance to play. And that's a pivotal year. If you're playing sports in high school, is like your junior year. And I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't even know what an ACL injury was and how long I was going to be out for. And once I figured out how bad that actually was and I had to get surgery, man, I got the news from the doctors and I straight cried. I'm like, oh my God, I worked this hard for nothing. Like, this is killing me, because it felt like, back-to-back years is like I got gypped somehow, some way. Now, this is all me in the process, God honest truth, starting to develop these limited beliefs that, things don't go my way. And it all started with me playing basketball. And slowly but surely, things that honestly wasn't really in my control, I let that get to me. And then I started letting outside influences get to me, years later when things started not going to plan. And me at first dedicating my life to basketball. And then slowly but surely, I started seeing that wasn't going to be a reality. That made me feel like, weirdly enough, like I didn't know the direction of the life that I was going to take. And around that time, I was questioning a lot. I was questioning, my beliefs, who I was, and all in the meaning while I'm doing that, I'm developing like crazy amount of bad habits, that's digging me more and more into a deeper hole, and then while I'm going through all of this craziness, I really believed that this whole entire time that, life doomed me, when in all reality, I was the person that was dooming myself. And certain times in life, you're going to have the moments when things go completely terrible. But at the same time, you're going to have those same moments when things go extremely well at the same time. And you got to be even keel of both of them in order to manage all of this stuff that come with, living life, the whole entire experience. And that's the one thing that I came to realize the more I kept like pushing through the threshold of like my whole goal was, and this was like 3 or 4 years ago, was to take basketball the furthest that I can, because I had nothing to lose. I had no job, I didn't have a place to stay until like my friends let me stay in their cribs and stuff like that. And I didn't have no money, no car, nothing. But I betted on myself through basketball. And God honest truth, to even be here telling you guys this story, it's kind of crazy. I don't even know what's making me say this. Before I would be uncomfortable saying something like this, because it's just like, for me before, this would be too much. But at the same time, if you guys been tuned in since the very beginning, I told you guys what held me back from even, putting myself out there and even doing the podcast was another limited beliefs in me being camera shy and being afraid of being in front of a camera, especially doing something like this. But like I said, I have those instincts of that animalistic mind, instinct of getting things done. And those was one of those things where, I had to get beyond what I was afraid of to get where I'm trying to go. And that happened so many times along the way. But these are things and habits that I wasn't aware of, until later on down the line, honestly, which is these last couple of months. I've been realizing that I've been making these decisions like a lot. And just to give you guys another Throwback Thursday story about me, the day I left for Spain was probably one of the scariest days of my life. I had a couple of them that's past that. I'm not even going to lie. I'll probably talk about it on the podcast. But like I said, if you've been tuned in on the podcast, you already know the story. But if you knew, the day that I went to Spain, I broke my phone. I pulled up to the airport. My mom dropped me off. My brother was with me. And I was listening to music. I had headphones on, Dre Beats that was just like these. But they was the wired ones. They was connected to my phone. So I go to the trunk. I open the door, go to the trunk, hug my mom, dab my brother up, and I walk, turn around, and go into the airport. So when I go to check in, I realize that I don't have my phone. So at this point, I'm like, I left it in the car. I didn't start freaking out at this point. I'm still kind of chilling. So I go to one of the ladies at check-in, and I asked them to use their phone to call my mom and see if she could come back so I could get my phone. So my mom ends up coming back, and she says, your phone is not in here. We checked all over the car. So at this point, I'm like, oh, man. How did somebody steal my phone that fast? Like, somebody swindled me. But I realized after looking for like 45 minutes to an hour that I had to go check in. I wasted mad time. Like, I gotta go. But at the same time, I'm thinking I don't have my phone. And pretty much everything that I needed to get there was on my phone. And I was starting to get real panicky, And then my mom asked me the most distinct question of my life, kid you not. And after a while, she was just like, so what you gonna do? You gonna stay or you gonna go? And she just staring at me, giving me the mom stare, And at that point, I realized that I was in a predicament. I could stay here, play it safe, and, find another way to get there, figure out the phone situation, or I could turn around and head to a place that I'd never been before and try to figure it out once I get there. So, of course, the Daryl in me just chucked the deuces up at her, and I turned around and I went up the Escalade. Now, my life was flashing before my eyes. I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is definitely, hands down, the dumbest decision that I've ever made. I went there on a one-way ticket. I don't know, but while I was sitting there at the gate, I remember I was sitting there praying, Like, God, please look out for me this one time. Just look out for me this one time. You know, just have my phone just pop up out of nowhere. So the person at the gate was like, Daryl, we have your phone. So I'm like, let's go. Hype. I get there and I see my phone is destroyed. It is destroyed. So they said that my mom found it on the side of the road. And that's when everything hit me. And I realized that I left it on top of the car as soon as I got out. Like, I put it on top of the car. I got my suitcase and then walked inside. And once I made that decision to go to the gate and everything pieced up, at this point, I was like, I gotta go now. I gotta go here. I got my phone like I wanted, and I don't know how I'm about to get there, you know. But eventually, I had a flight from Philly to Boston, and then I had the layover in Portugal, and then I went to Spain from there. But I tried to find in all the airports that I went to a place to get my phone fixed. And I was like, Boston is my last hope. If I don't get it fixed here, it's over. So once I got on that plane to Boston and I'm leaving and I'm going across the water, that's when it all said in. That ain't no turning back now. No matter what. Ain't no turning back. I'm sitting there looking down at the water like, oh my God. I'm already like 2 hours in the middle of the ocean. Ain't no going back home. You win this for real. And at that moment, I knew the worst thing that I could do during this whole entire thing is start panicking. I had to maintain my cool. But luckily, I remembered what hotel that I was staying at and what city I was staying in while I was out there. If I didn't know those two, I would have been screwed. I got honest truth. Wouldn't know what I would have done. And what got me there is crazy. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish, but I understood signs. And once I got off the plane from Portugal and I landed in Barcelona, at that moment, I was like, this is it. This is what everything led up to. You know, I got to start handling this now. And I was at the borderline of, crazy enough, having a freaking panic attack because I didn't have my phone. And I relied on it so much. And I didn't even realize how much I was like relying on it. And I was following the signs to get to a taxi or the bus station. And once I did that, that's like what my gut was telling me to do. In that moment, I told myself, whatever your gut says, don't question it. Just do it. Just do it. Don't start questioning anything right now. So that's exactly what I did. My feet just started moving. And like I said, I eventually just started following the signs. And then after that, I landed at the bus station and I seen that it's a map of like pretty much the whole country. And I seen at the very north, Girona, the city. And I asked the lady for a bus ticket and it was the very, very last stop. You know, so I got extremely lucky. But even with that, in that moment, you know, those was a crazy day and a half for me. But that was another pressure situation where it was just like you can either back down from it, you know, and say this is another day, or just get past your fears and what you're scared of and just go after it. And like I said, that's the type of mindset that I have to start tapping into from here on out. And I came to this realization today. You know, I tried to upload a podcast yesterday, but it wasn't working. You and I was getting like really frustrated, you know. But I told myself just start from scratch and just make a new one. Technically, I want to say this is 26. But nah, it's really 25. And I want to start making me doing whatever it is I got to do a habit that I don't have to think about. I don't want to think about it. If I know something has to get done, I just want to do it. That's what people that's really, really great at what they do, they're always like that, accomplish something, and then it's on to the next one, and it's on to the next one, and it's on to the next one. And I look up to people like that, because like for me, that's how it's been naturally. And it was all God honest truth through failure why I made it this far, because I had to see a purpose in my shortcomings and my adversities and why I was going through them in the first place. And then also realize that I can get past it, as long as I stay focused to the bigger picture. And that was one of the most difficult things that I had to develop, because like I said, throughout this whole entire journey, I didn't have no coaches or no trainers that was on top of me to make sure that I was doing what I had to do. I literally had to take self-initiative because I loved what I was doing that much that I sacrificed literally everything for it multiple times. Some it came back, some it didn't. But from every last one of them, I learned from them. And we can learn from literally all the shortcomings and adversities that we go through, because ultimately it makes us stronger. It refines our weaknesses. And that's how you got to look at it. If you're trying to, achieve things, you can't look at these things as if they're holding you back. You got to use that to your advantage, no matter what. Now, I thank you guys for tuning in yet again. And just another reminder about the Next Level event. It's coming up. It's just about, I would want to say 2 weeks around the corner. I already heard some of the Q&As from the speakers that's at the event. And all of them are very, very purpose-driven. And it came from life experience that I'm noticing. And they learned what they needed to and applied it in the way that they seem fit. That's them. That's authentic. And isn't that what we all trying to do? Be authentic in our own way with, the things that we care about, the things that we love and we hold dear to us. We can all make an impact in some way, shape, or form. People don't even realize that they're doing that already on the daily basis. We impact each other's lives every single day. Why not take control of it? Because you can. And you just got to determine what type of person that you want to be and what type of impact that you're trying to leave on this world, because a lot of us, when that expiration date hit, we're leaving a legacy behind. And what story are you going to tell? And you got to wake up every day knowing that you're telling that story, even though you're not even opening your mouth. It's about what you're doing. That's the most important thing. And that's why I'm going to push myself, that much harder from here on out. Because crazy enough, it just feels like it's my personal responsibility to myself to do that. And how can I even talk about these things if I'm not even doing them for myself? But yet again, I appreciate you guys for listening yet again to another podcast episode. Yet again, like, download, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow on Instagram at Purpose Served, follow on Twitter, Served Purpose. Love you guys. Serve your purpose, and I'm out. We out with another one.